They said Chrissy would die for Jim before she ever betrayed him. But today's ain't loyal. She's on the pavement, screaming in traffic, sobbing so hard. Paramedics had to pry her off the concrete. Why? Because just hours ago, Jim Jones got snatched out of his studio, handcuffed, humiliated, and straight up exposed. And who started the Fire Cameron's bloodline? Not TMZ, not NYPD, his own people. They didn't just leak a clip. They dropped a full-blown expose, voice notes, deleted DMs, hotel surveillance from a night Chrissy never even knew about, all dumped on a burner page that's catching views like a house fire. And then it hits a darker level. The voice on those tapes ain't Jim. It's someone way too deep in Chrissy's circle, whispering things that flip their entire relationship into one long, cruel setup. This ain't no love and hip-hop scandal. This is betrayal wrapped in barbed wire. The internet's combusting, Harlem's rattled, and Chrissy. She just mumbled, something so chilling that even cops froze in place. He warned me this would happen. If I ever said a word. But just when the world thought Chrissy had hit rock bottom, it spiraled into something even more dangerous. The whispers she's being tracked. Not by blogs. Not by fans, but by what insiders are now calling a silent surveillance team. Multiple sources swear Cameron's cousin, an ex-security detail for a high-profile politician, is the one monitoring Chrissy's steps, and no one's saying why one anonymous DM even claimed they're not watching her, they're waiting. Waiting for what nobody knows. But when Chrissy was caught at a Jersey gas station, hands trembling, pacing like a ghost, whispering into her phone, you could see it, and that's where it completely unravels. Cameron's aunt, yep, the one who clashed with Chrissy over that messy beat backstage fight in the early 2000s, leaked a handwritten letter to a blog. In it, she claims Chrissy was the one who tipped off the feds about Jim's meeting with old crew members under federal heat. If it's true, it's not betrayal anymore. It's war. Let that settle for a sec. This ain't internet gossip. The letter is dated, signed, and flaming. One line even reads, Chrissy always knew Jim couldn't survive these streets. Now she's cleaning up to save herself. Wow. The blogs went nuclear Chrissy. The informant trended all night on Black Twitter. One tweet said, this feel like if El Chapo's girl flipped and went live crying, I ain't buying none of it. Another said, she cried too hard. That ain't pain. That's guilt. Now, the footage that detonated the internet right after that letter dropped Cameron's family uploaded a video they titled The Final Straw, edited like it came off Netflix. It opens with grainy footage from a Manhattan rooftop bar. Jim slips an envelope to a hooded man. No sound, just cold silence. Then cut to Chrissy, jumping out of an Uber. 5 minutes later, panicked, looking over her shoulder. Then boom, sirens, flashing lights. FBI jackets, Jim in cuffs. But here's the twist. Cameron's cousin, who posted the clip, dropped a caption that said, the truth been twisted. This is what y'all didn't see. She knew she led him there. Did Chrissy set this up? Theories exploded on YouTube, Reddit, TikTok. One viral breakdown made it look like a scripted film. Scene 1, Chrissy convinces Jim to squash. Old beef. Scene 2. She accidentally picks the time, knowing the feds are tuned in. Scene 3. She shows up crying already, knowing what's about to hit. People ate it up, even Mona Scott, who usually stays quiet during chaos, posted cryptic stories saying sometimes silence protects the guilty. Fans are convinced she was throwing shade at Chrissy. Now let's get into the cash. Unverified reports popped up saying Chrissy opened a new offshore account just 2 days before Jim got arrested. And guess the deposit, $2,500 sent by a fake company linked to Cameron's uncle. Coincidence? No one's buying it. One user posted a screenshot of the wire with the caption, she sold her man out for a bag and a headline. Now, the whole thing's unraveling like a bad movie script. Some think Chrissy was planted by the government. Others say she got played by Cameron's family, who made Her believed Jim was cheating with a younger woman, and she snapped, "Whatever's real, it's messier than anyone imagined." And as for Jim, insiders say he's ghosting her from jail, won't take her, calls won't respond. The same woman who stuck with him through failed deals label fights and nearly a dozen breakups. Now she's dead to him cold. With court coming up, Chrissy's been spotted at church twice this week, wearing shades, at night head down, like she's hiding from judgment. People close to her say she's not sleeping, not eating, checking her phone like she's bracing for another explosion, and just when the storm felt like it might pass, Cameron's sister stepped in. Yeah, you heard that, right? Then it happened. Another leak hit the internet. This time, not just messages or video clips, but an entire file, dump audio files, email, threads, bank transfers, surveillance, stills. And buried deep within those files was something no one expected to find Chrissy's name. Not once, not twice, but multiple times tied to an off-the-books real estate transaction that had been under federal investigation for over a year. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Chrissy went from being the heartbroken fiancé of a fallen rapper to a possible co-conspirator in something far more serious. The blogs ran wild headlines like, "Was Chrissy in on it the whole time?" And the queen of reality TV, or the queen pin, exploded across every platform. And with each new revelation, the pressure mounted. She stayed silent, no public statements, no interviews. Just that one, black and white photo and the broken heart. But silence in a world driven by clicks and chaos is never an option. For long a close friend, someone from her inner circle spoke to anonymously, to a gossip site claiming Chrissy had been spiraling behind the scenes that she hadn't eaten, in days that she'd been obsessively watching old footage from Love and Hip Hop, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But the friend dropped online that flipped everything upside down. She's convinced Jim set her up. Let that sink in for a second. After everything she had done to protect him, after all the loyalty, all the love, all the years of standing by his side, when the streets were talking and the labels stopped calling, she now believed the man she built her life around might have used her as a pawn, a cover, a clean face, to hide the mess behind the scenes. And when you really looked at it, the puzzle started making sense. Why else had she been looped into those documents? Why were her initials on those transfers? Why was her name even mentioned in meetings she swore she had nothing to do with? Suddenly everyone had an opinion. Fans began combing through old episodes of the show, pointing out moments where Chrissy looked off, or where Jim seemed too calm. TikToks went viral analyzing their body language with so-called experts, claiming they had been hiding something for years. And right as the internet hit peak frenzy, another curveball came flying. Out of nowhere, Cameron himself posted just a photo. Him standing outside a courthouse in a tailored gray suit, captioned simply, "Told you all the truth would come out." That one post, it nearly broke the internet. Speculation erupted. Did Cameron's family leak the files to protect him? Was this personal? Was this revenge? And if so, why? Now some believed it was about loyalty, that Cameron had never forgiven Jim for walking away from Dipset the way he did others. Whispered it went deeper, that this was about money, old debts, power plays, and that Chrissy, she was just collateral damage in a decade's L. Long game of chess between two street legends, but Chrissy wasn't done yet. A private investigator, someone she'd hired, quietly weeks ago came forward with something unexpected. Hidden bank account in Jim's name, offshore, untraceable except it had been traced, and the transfers, they didn't just involve Chrissy's name. They involved a company tied to a former Love and Hip Hop executive, one who'd mysteriously stepped away from the franchise last year without explanation. It was starting to look like the show wasn't just entertainment, it was a smokescreen, a cover for something much darker. Suddenly, Chrissy's breakdown. On camera. Didn't look staged. It looked calculated, controlled, maybe even forced. If what the investigator said was true, then production had known about the scandal for months and had been feeding Chrissy staged storylines to keep her distracted and in front of the cameras, while the real business went down behind her back. Her whole reality had been scripted, and not by writers. By the people she trusted most. But that wasn't even the wildest part. The private investigator also uncovered something else. A burner. Phone registered to a fake name used only to communicate with one person, Mama Jones. And the message terrifying late-night texts warning Chrissy to stay quiet. Voice notes implying that Jim had gotten in too deep and that she was now too visible to pull out. And then one final text, sent just days before. The arrest headed. What he had to do. You're either with us or you're next. Chrissy broke down, note on camera. Not for the world, but alone, in her car, parked outside the very studio where she and Jim had filmed some of their most iconic love and hip-hop scenes, because this wasn't about TV anymore. This was about survival. She had spent years fighting for love, for her relationship, for the life she thought they were building. But now she was fighting for the truth, for her freedom, for her sanity. She turned over the burner phone to her lawyer the next morning along with every message, every file, every piece of evidence she could collect. It was time to stop being a reality TV star and start being a survivor. But just as she thought she was getting ahead of it, all the media dropped one final blow, a sealed indictment. Chrissy's name wasn't just in the leaks. She was now officially under investigation, not as a witness, not as an accomplice, but as a potential co-conspirator. In a federal racketeering case, the public erupted, support turned into suspicion, sympathy curdled into blame. And as she sat in her living room, staring at the screen, the words hit her like a freight train. Chrissy Lampkin facing 20 years, if convicted. The woman who had once been the poster child for Ride or Die. Love now stood alone, betrayed, broken, branded. And Jim, silent, vanished. No press release. No lawyer statement, no social media posts, just gone. Cameron's voice grew colder, each word slicing deeper. And the last, he was supposed to be out the game years ago. We all were. But he couldn't let go. And you were the only reason he kept dragging this mess out. You made him feel untouchable. You think you were helping him, but you were the shield that kept him from getting what was coming to him. And now your theliability. Chrissy stood frozen, the phone pressed tight against her ear. Her mind raced as the weight of Cameron's words sank in. All these years she thought she was protecting, Jim helping. Him keep it together, but in reality, her love, her loyalty, it had made her the perfect cover. She had unknowingly been the smokescreen for something far more dangerous. "Are you threatening me?" she asked, her voice sharp. Now cutting through the silence, Cameron didn't flinch. "No, Chrissy, I'm warning you. There are people moving pieces you haven't even seen yet. And if you don't back off, they'll come for you next." The line went dead. Chrissy stood in the middle of her apartment phone, still in hand, her heart thudding like a war drum in her chest. For the first time, she realized the enemy wasn't just outside. It wasn't just the media or the haters online or even Cameron and his shady inner circle. It was the entire system she had unknowingly been a part of. The world she had escaped when she chose love over fame, loyalty over ambition. She wasn't just a casualty in this story, she was the target. The next morning, Chrissy made a decision that would shift everything. She called a meeting, not with Jim's lawyers, not with her PR team, but with an underground investigator known only by one name, Knox. He was a ghost, someone who specialized in exposing secrets too dangerous for the public eye. The kind of secrets people were willing to kill to protect. When Knox showed up, he brought with him a file thick, grimy, and sealed with a red string. "Everything you need to know is in here," he said, sliding it across the table. "But once you open this, there's no turning back. These people don't play fair. They don't forgive, and they definitely don't forget." Chrissy opened the file. Inside were photos, transcripts, bank records, evidence of a massive web of corruption that connected music labels, street gangs, shady real estate deals, and political donors' names. She recognized faces. She'd smiled at galas, people she had shared dinners with, and right in the center of it all, Jim not as the mastermind, but as the bait they had used. Him for years, powerful figures had quietly manipulated his movements, pushing him into decisions that benefited their underground empire. And Chrissy, her presence had been the perfect disguise. She humanized him, she made him look like a man trying to grow to change. But every time she posted a vacation photo or gushed about their love on TV, she unknowingly buried the truth a little deeper. Now with the file in her hands and her world flipped upside down, Chrissy had a choice. Keep quiet, save herself, and disappear into the shadows, or go public. Blow the whole thing wide open and risk losing everything. And deep down, she already knew what she was going to do. She picked up her phone and opened the camera. No glum, no filter, no script, just "Chrissy, my name is Chrissy Lampkin, and for the last 10 years, I've been living a lie. But starting today, I'm telling the truth, no matter what it costs." He hit record. Jim's in too deep. Cameron continued. "He's been making moves, pulling strings, with people you don't even know. You've been blinded by love, and now it's too late. There's no going back from this." Chrissy's grip tightened around the phone. "So, what, Cam? You think you're going to ruin him? Ruin us? No," Cameron replied coldly. "I'm not ruining anyone, I'm just revealing the truth. The truth Jim's been hiding for way too long." The call ended abruptly. Chrissy stood frozen in the center of the room, her thoughts spiraling. Cameron had just admitted to everything, but something didn't sit right. He was hiding more. There was a deeper plan at play, and she wasn't about let everyone around her destroy that life she had clawed to build in the days that followed. Chrissy started digging. She traced Cameron's past, his quiet connections, and the real motives beneath his words. What she found nearly broke her. Cameron's family, along with other high-powered players, had been pulling strings in silence. Jim wasn't the target. He was a pawn. This wasn't about street beef. It was about empire's money control, a silent war that reached across industries. But that wasn't the worst part. In her hunt for the truth, Chrissy stumbled across a horrifying revelation. The so-called evidence, those explosive videos, photos, texts, had been edited, twisted, weaponized. They weren't just trying to take down Jim. They were trying to destroy Chrissy's mind, break her spirit, make her doubt everything. Now the fight wasn't just for love. It was for survival. Chrissy wasn't going to let Cameron or anybody else rip away everything she had left, not without aware. As this saga spirals deeper, one thing's clear. We're only scratching the surface. Will Chrissy finally come clean about what really went down the night? Jim was arrested, or is this the most twisted betrayal we've ever seen? We want to hear from you. Was Chrissy just an innocent woman dragged into a storm? Or is there something way darker going on? Here, drop your take in the comments below. And if you're as stunned as we are, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're the first to catch what's coming next. Because trust us, this saga, it's just heating up. Stay locked in, the real secrets they haven't even surfaced yet. Thanks for watching the video.